Hey everybody, this is prisoner 830506, and I am reporting from my prison cell at Facility 5, a private contract prison, and we're finally getting a new view. It came at a very high cost to me. I requested this permission a couple weeks ago during my legal hearing with my hearing with legal. They not only denied it, but they gave me 10 points of punishment, which you might know is 20 days in consolidated confinement. I already had 40 days on my record, so that made 60 days total. And that's the reason that you haven't seen me for a while. Because shortly after that, I was sent to the punishment cells to serve consolidated confinement, and I was in there for 10 days. Prior to that, though, I did submit Vlog 4. If you notice, this goes from Vlog 3 to Vlog 5. Vlog 4 was submitted, and the entire thing was blocked by legal for showing what they quote unquote, showing marks of punishment, which is kind of the whole point. Let me just break it down here. I have to perform mandatory labor because of my status in the prison as being a punishment level status. We prisoners call it slave labor because we don't have a choice. We have to do this mandatory labor. That's why it's called mandatory. Every single day. We don't have any days off, and even when I'm in consolidated confinement, I have to do this. Oh, see the mark on my right foot? That code is they wrote that code on there for the footprint authentication panel because they had just put this suspension chain on me. The suspension chain is mandatory for all prisoners who are permanently shackled, and these shackles are welded on. They don't come off, making them permanent. That's what permanent means. They just replaced all the glass panels, and because they get scratched up by our chains from standing on them like this. So they mandated that all permanent shackled prisoners be suspension chained. And that's this chain that comes down from my waist that suspends my chain off the floor. So when I'm standing on the panel, it's not dragging and scratching it up, basically. Now, prisoners who are not permanently shackled still have to be shackled when they're outside the cell. So their chains do drag across the panels, but they're wearing transport restraints. So they have a chain from their shackles to their wrists. And in normal position, it keeps it off the ground. I mean, it really depends on how tall you are. So the chains still drag, but they're the handcuff chains, the regular ankle cuff chains. So they're not really as harsh as these heavier chains that I'm wearing. So all of us have to be suspension chained now, and I was surprised it took them this long. Before my furlough, I had a suspension chain, and then they just didn't put it on me when I came back until now. So this is new to me, and that's why that code is written on the bridge of my right sole, because when I stand, the next time my feet are on a footprint authentication panel after they've put the suspension chain on me, it's going to record that in the system. The system reads my footprints, and it reads any codes that are written along the soles of my feet to input that into the system. So the system recognize the code. The codes change every day, so it really depends. And the only reason I know that this code is for this is because that's the only thing that happened the day that that I shot this, and that's why they wrote that code. But anyway, so the suspension chain is new, and I do like it. It's a lot more weight because I'm wearing extra chain, and they didn't give me a belt. They wrapped the chain around my waist, and they bolted it on, so I can't remove it without tools, and of course I don't have those tools. And they also give me a lot of slack. You can hear it. There's a lot of chain that hangs off the other end that I have to kind of wrap around at my waist. But anyway, if you watch the full vlog over at patreon.com/facility5, I'll show that close up and how it goes around my waist, and you can see the red marks that these chains make around my waist and how I have to tuck this extra chain up underneath. It's really kind of annoying. I wish they would have just cut it off, but I don't know. Anyway, and it's welded to a ring, the ring between my feet. So it's permanent. I can't take it off. But it is nice because when I'm walking now, especially in my cell floor, because I'm in a luxury cell, is tiled, because they actually put floor heating in the luxury cells. In regular cells, it's just bare concrete, and it's the chains are a lot louder on the tile. When I'm walking in my cell and dragging the chains is really noisy. And when I'm walking on regular concrete in the hallways and stuff, it's not that bad. But in my cell, it was really loud. And now it's nice and quiet when I walk in my cell because of the chain, the suspension chain. So that part's cool. Plus, it takes a lot of weight off my ankles. These shackles are perfect for laying and sitting, which is the majority of the time in my cell anyway, because they're flat against my ankles. I mean, they do smother my ankles, and I get a little sweaty sometimes. But they are very heavy, and with this heavy chain, they really push into my ankles. Like right now, I'm sitting down, and you can hear the chain is on the floor of my cell. It puts a lot of weight on the tops of my ankles. Of course, I've been wearing these for so long that I'm used to it, but it is uncomfortable after a period of time of standing and walking with them, with that added weight against my ankles. So anyway, that aside, the mandatory labor, there is a punishment in the prison called lashing, and it's an approved punishment. All upper level PLWs are given a plastic rod, which they use to beat the soles of prisoners' feet as punishment. Of course, this was originally designed to be an option. You know, you give the prisoner the option of a quick and easy, painful punishment rather than going into the punishment cells for multiple days. And so, I mean, it makes sense, but it didn't work out that way. So you get lashes, and you know, if you don't take the lashes on their first offer, they'll just up the offer. They'll say 5 lashes, 2 weeks in punishment cell, and then they'll go to 10 lashes or a month in the punishment cells. So basically, you don't have an option. They point at your feet, they say left sole, you lift your left foot, and you know they whack it with a plastic rod. And then they go to your right sole. It's always in pairs. If they say 1 lash, that means 1 lash per foot. So, and that day that I did the vlog, I had 5 lashes to both feet, which my supervisor in trash processing loves to do. I mean, he literally sets us up to fail so that we can get lashes. He gets into it. And I'll go into more detail on how that happened and everything. But anyway, so five lashes to both soles. And he tries to lay the marks across the soles of my feet so that by the time I get back to my cell, most of it's faded. Well, on this day, he missed his mark, and he hit the same spot multiple times on both feet. I had 2 marks across the soles of my feet that were still visible by the time I got to my cell. Normally, they would have faded by then and not really visible, but I thought I would take advantage of that and show the marks because they were visible on camera, and that killed that vlog, unfortunately. Then after that, I was put in consolidated confinement for 10 days. And I planned on being down there for a lot longer. They alluded that I would be down there. They didn't ever tell us how long we'll be in consolidated confinement or in the punishment cells in general. But that's run by PLWs now. And the PLW that put me into my first cell and chained me to the 2 other prisoners basically alluded that I'd be down there for a while because they told me to get comfortable. Or, you know, so I was planning on being down there for a while. And being that I had 60 days of consolidated confinement hanging over my head, I was really looking forward to it. As I mentioned before, the first week down there is the hardest because you're going from, well, my limited freedom now to being absolutely no freedom, no personal space, no privacy. I mean, my feet are literally chained to the feet of 2 other prisoners, and we're locked in a 4-foot by 8-foot concrete cell 24 hours a day. Of course, I still have to do my mandatory labor, so it's only about 20 hours for me each day because I have to leave that cell and go do my mandatory labor. So on the 10th day down there, mandatory labor, I arrived at my position. I worked the conveyor belt, so I literally standing barefoot in garbage juice all day, and I'm sifting through trash on a conveyor belt with my bare hands to pull out glass and plastic. It's probably the worst job in the prison. I can't imagine one being any worse than that. But on top of that, he runs the conveyor belt really fast, and he beats the soles of our feet when a piece of glass or plastic gets past us into the final bin, the trash bin. So he decided that he was going to... We have a thing in the prison called being on the chain. And as a mandatory labor prisoner, I am always working on the chain, which means that when I arrive to my position, I'm chained by my ankle to another prisoner, a single prisoner. So it's a pair bonding. And the chain is 20 feet long, so it doesn't hinder our ability to work or move around. And but we're chained together, so if one of us messes up, we both get punished. So that means that every time my partner, who's at the other end of the conveyor belt, the one that's the second position, if she misses the plastic or glass, then we both get lashes. But he decided that he was going to change the rules, and he said that because the other 4 prisoners minus 1, well, there's 5 more prisoners other than us, that 4 of those are on the chain as well. They're pair bonded, so there's 3 chains, 6 prisoners, and then there's one guy that's down there that's a regular prisoner that's just being punished. He has the easiest job. He just pours the garbage onto the conveyor belt. But anyway, he says that we're all considered on the same chain because we're in the same department. So that means everybody gets lashes when we mess up. And then he turns it up, and we got 9 lashes. My pair got 9 lashes after 45 minutes down there. So it was bad. He came down there to beat the shit out of us, basically. That was his goal for the day. One of the prisoners that doesn't normally have his feet beaten, because he works the easy job over at Plastics, he decided not to accept the lashes, and you do not disobey an order from an upper level PLW, or you're in a lot of trouble. And that escalated to the point where that prisoner ended up in the infirmary. He was beaten unconscious by the supervisor, and a lot more. So I'll talk a lot more in detail on what happened down there on my other vlog, the main vlog at patreon.com/facility5. It was pretty intense. Okay, it was pretty bad. And then I was sent back to my cell because when you're involved in a punishment or in a abuse report, and you're actively being punished, you're flagged for punishment, that flag is removed. So instead of going back to consolidated confinement, I was sent back to my prison cell. But because of that incident, I was on lockdown. Like, I was completely locked out of the PCN, the Prison Community Network. That's where we chat to each other in the prison. It's an internal network. And I was completely cut off from the internet too. So when I went to sign in the PCN and saw that I was blocked, I felt like I just got slugged in the stomach. I was having a hard time breathing. It knocked the wind out of me. It was like, it's kind of a mix of things. The incident that happened in trash processing, the fact that I just spent the previous 10 days chained to 2 other prisoners, and now I'm completely isolated, not only just in solitary confinement, which I normally am in my cell, but also cut off from the outside. It just hit me like a ton of bricks at that point. But anyway, that's the reason that I haven't posted in a while, and I'm sorry you weren't able to see the last vlog. But even with that last vlog, I still would have been a week out, a week missing because of the consolidated confinement and all the other stuff. So, but I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be able to show this new view, and I hope you like it. And if you want more, the full vlog, I just finished it, and it's almost an hour and a half long, and it does show more positions. I'm trying a couple different positions on this panel, the standing position like I am now, and then the other one is with me laying face down with the soles of my feet up and the tops of my feet against the glass. And I also show video of the chain that's around my waist. It's bolted on, so I can't remove it. And you can see the red marks that it makes on the sides of my, around my waist anyway, because I'm chained around my waist. Anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the full version over at patreon.com/facility5, and I'll see you next week, as long as I'm not in consolidated confinement. Thanks for watching.